And everybody has something valuable to offer. But how can they do that unless they find a safe environment, a good friend or two, or a mentor that's going to draw that out of them?
Hey, welcome back to the Men of Iron podcast. This month, we're talking all about friendships. At Men of Iron, we want you to thrive in your core five. That's your faith, family, friends, fitness, and finances. That's why we're spending this month talking about how you can do just a little bit better in your friendships. This is one of the topics that we've seen. Guys generally know they're not hitting it out of the park in this realm. So before we dive into the episode, I just want to let you know, if you're interested in investing in our mission to change a culture one man at a time, you can do that by clicking the link below. If you think you could benefit from having a mentor, there's a link below for that. And if you want a cool shirt, like Rob's cool shirt you'll see in a second, you can buy one of those on our store. There's a link in our description. So without all that out of the way, Rob Stoppard, I'm glad to have you here, man. So we're going to spend a little bit of time talking about friendships, and I think some of the core pieces of what is involved in like a solid, good friendship. Sure. Yeah.
You know, I've been in the people's helps business for 26 years, and quickly I learned that if I don't accept somebody, I have a hard time believing in them, nonetheless challenging them. Mm-hmm. So that's where the ABCs came into view for me.
Okay.
And I thought back through my own life a little bit, when I was not accepted, how I felt. Mm-hmm. When I was not believed in, how I felt. And then to be challenged was nothing but criticism.
You got my attention when we were talking about friendship. And one of the things you mentioned is this ABC system of friendship. And so one of the things I want to encourage our guys as they listen is that we believe that like we want to call you into deeper, more meaningful friendships, not just acquaintances, not just guys you hang out with, but guys you like authentically share life with. And you're bringing to the table, hey, there's actually three things that a lot of guys would benefit from. That's acceptance, belief, and challenge. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
Every person in the world wants accepted.
Mm-hmm.
And every person in the world wants believed in. Mm-hmm. Not everybody wants challenged because they think challenged is criticism. Mm-hmm. But I'm talking about positive accountability to meet goals. Mm-hmm. And, when I feel accepted, I don't feel like I need to pretend or try to fit in. Mm-hmm. And then if you say, hey, well, let's go one step further, I want to learn who you are, what you're about. Then you're showing evidence you want to believe in me. Mm-hmm. And then if you do that long enough, I'll give you permission to challenge me, to push me a little further along than what I'm used to. Mm-hmm. But if you don't do A and B, I'm not going to accept C.
It's not going to happen.
Mm-hmm. And, I've been in the people's health business for 26 years. And I've watched individuals come into my office that never had anybody accept them. And they were taking a huge risk, mind you. But when I started to listen to them and listen to their story, that helped them to know that I actually accepted them and believed in them. Because everybody's story is important, right? Mm-hmm. And not everybody's story is that easy to tell because of pain, rejection, not fitting in, and all those kind of things. And so when you think about accepting, believing, and challenging, then you're able to connect with a person at a level that's much deeper than just an acquaintance. Mm-hmm. So when you feel accepted, you create a safe environment. Mm-hmm. Like a safe environment to share what you may not share with other people. Think about that.
It's funny. I think about anytime we go, like I would guess most people have like their general rhythms.
Yeah.
And anytime myself or my wife and I or family are invited into something that's outside that rhythm, there's always, maybe I can get better at it. Maybe I can never worry about this. Sure. But I would say there's always some piece in my mind that actually is acceptance minded. Mm-hmm. What's it going to be like when I get there? Is anybody actually even going to want me there? And obviously there's like big moments in your life like that. You get a new job, you move to a new town, any number of things that are those big tent pole moments in your life where you're worried about acceptance. But there's any number of much smaller ones where you're invited to some extended family party. Am I going to be accepted there? It didn't go so great the last time. You go to, maybe you're visiting a different church, or maybe you're going to another company for some kind of meeting that you're working on. Always there's this little thing in your mind that's like, is this a space where I'm going to be accepted? And so what we have an opportunity to do when we're pursuing friendships is let people know right up front, I want you here.
Yeah. Kind of like, hey, sit at my table.
Yeah.
When you're chosen, you're more quickly to feel accepted and believed in.
Mm-hmm.
I watch this when I do public meetings. Mm-hmm. For the person that may be shy or introverted, I'll say, hey, I have some seats up here in the front row. Would you like to come up and join me?
Yeah.
That breaks the ice. It helps them to feel part of what's going on. And of course, the extroverted person, they just walk right up to the front and sit in the front row, which is fine. But even many people that are extroverted are posing because they want to make sure that they're seen and accepted. Mm-hmm. And so they bring themselves to the front to make a statement. Mm-hmm. Now, not everyone does, obviously. But, insecurity is not a good motivator or a good driver for anything. Mm-hmm. And so my success and what I've done as a coach and a consultant and counselor has been learning to meet people where they're at. When I get to hear a story, I can start to see things that I would have missed had I not listened to the story. Mm. And everybody has something valuable to offer. But how can they do that unless they find a safe environment, a good friend or two, or a mentor that's going to draw that out of them? And, I remember times in my life where I didn't feel accepted because I was pretty shy and, I didn't quite fit in for whatever reason I had made up in my mind. And so to go to school was always a challenge. Mm-hmm. In fact, I hated going to school until I found my rhythm in my shy way. Mm-hmm. And once I was accepted, then occasionally somebody would start to believe in me. And thankfully, my teachers did, which got me through. Mm-hmm. But then there's other events and times, when you're standing in line and you're in recess, you're standing in line, and you're the last person standing there, not chosen to play on the team. And, not accepted, not believed in, and actually feeling rejected, And a lot of people go through this as part of the growing up process.
I have a scandalous thing to admit to. I've never played a round of golf my whole life. And so I was a pastor for like 10 years. And there was this big pastoral network golf tournament. And it was a bunch of different churches. And so this guy that I was starting to work with, getting to know, he was like, hey, do you want to come play in our church golf tournament? I was like, yeah, that'd be awesome. Like, that'd be so fun. This is like a group of guys that I didn't know. I was getting to know. And I was like, hey, just one thing I got to tell you. Like, I played mini golf. That's it. I've never actually played golf ever. He's like, oh, okay. I was like, well, do you think that'll be a problem, or like, will that be okay? It'll probably be okay. I was like, oh, great. Like that's exciting. I get to go to a new group of people, get to know some new guys, hang out, have a good time. They don't care that I'm not good at golf or even know how to play. And what the funny thing that happened is they just forgot to actually give me the details to invite me into the tournament. So I just got left out of that right away. So it was clear to me that I wasn't accepted. Now I don't think it was a mean-spirited thing. I think it was just like, okay, we kind of want to win this tournament. You're not going to help us do that. But that's one of those acceptance things. Like, pretty quickly, am I in or not?
Yeah.
And it just becomes quickly obvious. So when we talk about it, Men of Iron, like we want you to have strong friendships. Don't be afraid to offer that acceptance to somebody, because you can't even get to the next steps unless you offer acceptance at the beginning.
Absolutely. Think about this. When you bring a new person into Men of Iron, what's the first thing you do?
Yep.
You accept them.
Yeah. And we want them to know that we have a place for them, that we value them, that we appreciate them. Yeah, for sure.
And the next thing you do is get to know them, so you start to believe in them. Mm-hmm. Do you have any idea, have you thought through what it's like to go through that process to actually start to believe in somebody, or is this kind of like a new concept you have to think through? So you've accepted them, but now how do I believe in them?
Well, there's got to be some place where you're kind of turning the corner on that relationship.
Yeah.
Because I think like it's one thing to accept people, and our culture now has put this spin on acceptance. It's like you just have to be okay with everything all the time. That's not what we're talking about. No. It's one thing to accept people. I'm assuming there's a whole other thing to start to believe in them, because you can't believe in somebody if you don't know who they are. This will be extra credit, but I've worked with a lot of younger guys that kind of grew up without knowing God at all. And one of the things I would talk about is you can't really get to a place of believing in God until it actually starts to do something to you. Like, it's one thing to be like, well, yeah, there's a God. It's a whole nother thing to see like, oh, like your life is starting to be affected by your relationship with God. You're starting to make decisions about it. And sometimes they're not good ones. Like sometimes there's a lot of pent up frustration toward God, and people pour that out. Like they're mad at God. It's like, oh, you're starting to believe, because you're actually starting to put skin in this game, and it's starting to affect how you live. And I'm assuming like when you enter into a friendship with another person, accepting them is one thing, believing them requires some level of real, authentic relationship.
Absolutely. You know, when you start believing, you're showing confidence in that individual as a person, but also you start to notice their strengths, start to validate their strengths, and provide opportunity for them to excel or make mistakes. You see, in the believing stage, people do make mistakes. That's the trial error area of our lives, where we either continue with the acceptance or start to feel the rejection. So I pay attention to that whenever I'm bringing on a new team member in a business or any organization for that matter. I want people to know up front, it's okay to make mistakes, but no, you're not a mistake. There's a big difference. And so then they will try a little harder, maybe dig in a little bit deeper, because they know they're not going to end up rejected because of a mistake. And the thing of being believed in is that you are now on a pathway to grow deeper in relationship, whether it's in a friendship or as a team member at Men of Iron or whatever it might be. And then you get to that point where, you know what, you've been faithful with this, you've been faithful with this. Now I want you to be faithful with this new thing that's outside of your comfort zone and maybe outside of mine as well. And maybe you have examples of that within Men of Iron. And
I'm just thinking about our mentorship. I mean, like hopefully a lot of you know us, but if you don't, like, we want to get every man into a one-on-one mentorship, because we believe it's the best way for a man to grow is to be challenged by somebody just a couple stages ahead of them, which I know we're going to talk about challenge here in a second. But when we run mentorships and we do pairings, it's very common for acceptance to be something that people are trying to figure out at first. Like, well, do you even like me? Like, do you even want to spend time with me? And obviously, like that's a hurdle sometimes, all the time. I can just be honest about that. Like there's obviously a challenge where people are trying to decide, am I accepted by my mentor? Am I accepted by my protege? But pretty quickly you get to a place of, oh, like we're actually here to really dig in and really figure some things out. That mentor starts to notice strengths in the protege. Hey, you're pretty good at this. Have you noticed this? You want to grow in this. They also start to notice weaknesses. So I think belief probably has both sides. Like, okay, this is a area in your life that probably needs attention. Like, let's work on that. Let's move that. Let's change that. And the protege is going through the same thing. Oh, this mentor, man, he's got a lot to offer me. This guy's been successful in business. He could help me understand it. He's been a phenomenal dad. He could help me be a better dad. His marriage is incredible. That would help me move just a couple places forward in my marriage. And that's all belief. And it's very, very powerful. And I think it's a thing that a lot of men don't have. Right. So because there's this epidemic of friendship among men, and it's very easy for young guys and old guys to say, I don't really have any friends. We don't even get past acceptance. And when we don't get past acceptance, we're definitely not getting to belief. And we don't have those voices in our lives that are like, hey, I do believe in you. You can do it. I can help you. And when you don't have that, you're just aimless and lost. And so I would say like our mentorship, we experience those stages all the time. I could give you a list of guys that I know have believed in me. And usually when I know a guy believes in me, it's when I can see he's given me an opportunity, usually to do something that I've either never done before or I'm not sure I'm even good at. And when those opportunities show up, if you've had that happen in your life, you could probably recall them, where somebody said, hey, I could see you doing this. And you're like, what? Do you actually know me? That's a powerful thing when somebody believes in you.
Certainly. I remember when I was young, probably in my junior high years, I signed up to join the wrestling team. Now, I was tall and skinny. I wasn't the typical build for wrestling, but the coach accepted me. And as we were going through the practices, he started to notice that I was fast. And he complimented me on that. And he looked me right in the eye. He said, you know, you're really fast, and what you did was a fast move. And then he was able to challenge me to keep working on my skills in wrestling. And then, as life would have it, I quit. Not because anything was wrong. It's just I moved on to other things. But I'll never forget those defining moments in my life, because that happened over and over again. But you know what? To be accepted, you have to risk. You have to step into an environment that's outside of your comfort zone. So that's the first challenge, and that's not even the challenge I want to talk about here. The challenge I want to talk about is going further outside of what you're used to.
Yeah.
And I remember back in 97 actually, when I was shy. I was very backwards. I didn't know who I was. And I was invited to, I was in a training for inner healing. And my teacher at the time invited me to help co-facilitate the next training. Well, in my childlike exuberance, I said yes and didn't realize what I was getting myself into. But I was feeling some measure of confidence at that point. And my first assignment was to introduce a video. Now, can you imagine?
Yeah.
Introducing a video takes 20 seconds, 30 seconds. I was shaking, I was stammering, and I was quivering, and probably more than people notice. But it was not really a fun experience. But because I was accepted and believed in, I could be challenged to take a step that I wouldn't normally take. And again, there's another one of those defining moments where I did take the risk, and it helped change the course of my life. And, when you think about Men of Iron, men come into this looking to be challenged, but they may not be asking that. Because every man, as in John Eldredge's terms, has a battle to fight. And we, as the body of Christ, need to be more forthright in advancing God's kingdom by using our gifts, talents, and abilities. But when you're not in an environment that's safe to use your gifts, talents, and abilities, well, then it's very difficult to get to the challenge stage. So my hope for all the men watching this and listening to this, that they're going to look at the ABCs in a different light, not the childhood learning experience.
You've got to be challenged.
Yeah.
Like if you are a man that wants to pursue God, that wants to know God, know his purpose, wants to thrive in his core five, the whole bit, like you have to be challenged. You have to be put in a place where, hey, that's great that you're there. We want to see you go there. And it's not an earning thing. It's not like, hey, if I get 3 degrees closer to God, then God will finally love me. No, if you think it's that way, you're totally off. It's actually trying to become the most effective man that you can be. And you will not be able to go there if you don't have challenging circumstances. So when we talk about friendship, you need other men that are challenging you.
Yes.
You need other men that are saying, hey, man, why'd you talk to your kid that way? That kind of missed the mark. Or like, hey, how's your marriage going? What's happening there? And I know that makes us feel some kind of way sometimes, especially when we are dealing with something that we don't want people to know about. But that challenge is critical to helping us to become more effective men. And again, you're not earning God's love. That's silly. God loves you. It's a free gift. But you're striving to become the most effective man you can be, because all of us have a short period of time that is our lives. And we want to steward those lives as best as we possibly can to build God's kingdom and honor him the most that we possibly can. That's the most fulfilling life you can live. So when you are living your life to honor Christ, that's the most fulfilled you're ever going to be. And you can't do that by staying stuck in one place. You've got to have people that challenge you. That's why we're so passionate about friendships, because we believe that friendships are one of the best way for a man to be challenged, to be moved just a little bit further. So I'm glad you're highlighting this.
Yeah, totally. You're reminding me of another time. I was learning how to speak and preach. And I had been going through a ministry called Elijah House that teaches you on father wounds and how to get healed from father wounds. Well, when you have a father wound, it's very difficult to feel accepted and believed in by anybody. And so I had gone through a measure of healing. But one day I was teaching on this in front of a pretty good-sized congregation. And apparently I was saying things that had an edge to it that had to do with my father.
Okay.
So I thought it was all fine. But later I got challenged by actually a lady in the congregation that knew me accepted me,
Mm-hmm.
believed in me,
Mm-hmm.
was able to challenge me and says, I was hearing some angry tones coming from you. Well, at first that just ruffled my feathers.
Yeah, it's a
because,
whole different thing. Yeah.
I mean, come on,
Yeah.
I'm here teaching, and it's a great topic, and can't you just give me a high five? Kind of internal dialogue going on.
Mm-hmm.
But what that did for me was help me to learn about receiving feedback. And without feedback, you don't change.
You're not going to get any better. Yeah.
And so that was another defining moment in my life where somebody that did accept me and believe in me was able to challenge me before I even knew the ABCs.
Mm-hmm.
And that helped change my life, helped me to listen to my tone, listen to my delivery, even my body language.
Yeah.
You can be saying something in a good tone, but have body language that looks different.
Mm-hmm.
And we all need to learn how to better communicate. And we can do that when we're getting feedback, and we can do that from somebody that knows they love us, they care about us, especially a good friend or a mentor/friend in the journey.
I appreciate this, Rob. It seems like such a practical way to think through friendships, relationships. To guys out there that are listening, like you might have a group of friends. This is probably just a good reminder to you, like, hey, are you accepting those guys? Are you believing in those guys? Are you challenging those guys? Maybe you're missing the mark on one of those areas. I know there's a lot of guys listening that just don't have friends. And it could actually be like a pretty meaningful pathway. Like, hey, just show acceptance to somebody. Show that you believe in them. Obviously, you don't start to challenge people on day one.
No.
Challenge is something that you invest in, that you build relationship for, but all of us need it. And so I know there's any number of guys listening that are kind of all over this spectrum. And I just want you to hear clearly from me, like, nobody's perfect. Everybody has room to grow. If you have 0 friends, we want to help you have 1.
Yeah.
If you have 10 friends, we want to make sure that those are meaningful relationships built on acceptance, belief, and challenging. And so I just thank you for bringing this to the table. I think it's a really great way to think through friendships.
Yeah, and I'd like to just make another comment about this. If you're a bit shy and you feel like people won't accept you, why not start accepting somebody else?
Yeah.
And start a conversation. And the conversation needs not to be about you, but about the other person. Learn to ask good questions that gets the person talking about themselves and their story, and then you can learn to know them, which will make a way for you to tell your story. And in that way, there's a mutual acceptance going on, which helps build friendship.
Mm-hmm.
And in that process, you start to identify with key points in that person's life where you're believing in them and then they're believing in you. So the mutuality of this conversation started with a conversation about the other person that led for you to be able to share about your story. And then as time goes on and you're building trust, then challenge comes up. And, have you ever shot a shotgun before? Well, no. Would you like to learn? Okay, well, that's outside of that person's comfort zone. And so let me show you how it's done.
Yeah.
You just don't hand them a shotgun and say, hey, go shoot it.
You might. It could be fun,
Well, it could.
actually.
But, most of the time, some people do want to learn,
Yeah.
but some from somebody that's competent. So the challenge doesn't have to be alone. It can be with somebody alongside of you. And that could be with any sport or activity in life.
Well, I appreciate you bringing this to the table, Rob. I think it's just a really helpful framework for thinking through friendships, how men can build meaningful relationships, where you're accepting, you're believing, you're challenging. They seem to be critical components in helping all of us grow. And we do believe that for you to thrive in your core 5, you need to pay attention to this part of your life. Now, if you're not perfect, obviously none of us are, it's okay. But what would it look like for you to take one small step in a direction where you're growing just a little bit? And it doesn't have to be something crazy. Yeah. You don't have to plan to have 10 meaningful friendships tomorrow. But what would it look like just to text an old friend and try to reconnect? Maybe show some interest in somebody that you're just getting to know. I think there's any number of just small steps you can take forward. So thanks for being with us, Rob. Appreciate your insight. This has been just fun talking through friendships for men, and it's been really valuable to me. So I appreciate you. Thanks, guys, for listening to the Men of Iron podcast. Just a reminder, we are on a mission to change a culture one man at a time. We want everybody in this area and in our nation to know God and know their purpose. We think the most effective way to do that is to invest in men. So we take our mission very seriously. We do intend to carry it out, and we can't do it without support and investment from people like you. So if you believe in our mission, I would love to invite you to invest in our mission personally. You can do that with the link in our description. If you need a mentor, if you would like to join a group of like-minded guys that are also trying to grow, there's a link for that in our description as well. Thanks again for listening to the Men of Iron podcast. We'll see you next week.
Thanks for listening to the Men of Iron podcast. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share. At Men of Iron, we exist to change a culture one man at a time, and we'd love to have you partner with us. So go to menofiron.org to see how you can get involved, or donate at menofiron.org/donate.